I'll leave my office open. Okay. Når vi bruker båten, så på nattslag deler på to. For du trenger ikke ha det. Det er fra 6 timer til 8. Så nå går fra 12 til 3.
Yeah, and there's this book, but I think you can, if you go to the science library, you can read the book there. But the book costs a lot, so that's better.
Jeg har jo åpent det kan være behøver
Mulig å ta en spilling nå.
Det står to ganger her.
It's not that so
Ja, men det er helt
probably just that paper.
Når du er forberedt, for meg er det helt korrekt. Jeg håper studenten ikke har fått dårlig informasjon. Du skal gi 15 minutter på slutten. Ja, men da gjør vi det sånn.
Oh yeah, so basically
Ja, men vi kjører sånn, så snakkes vi.
Alltså jag kan det ringa. Alltså jag var bara så den här personen lite bra liksom. Så det är massa timmar så här. Och så bara syns det var något tokigt där antar. Och så att det är som 3 minuter. Du går och lägger 3 minuter. Och så går han och lägger sig igen. That's it. Alltså ja, men det var det.
Jag vet att hon har tagit dörromtaget mitt, men det var bara lite ryska sig.
När man var på
det jag syns är roligt är att Sept har våra
jag vet inte vad jag var tyckte innan jag kastade bara den. Det var den.
Och ja, alltså det är så att man ska gå
Men det var ett fokus.
Hæ? Har du rukket det i dag? Ja. Du så 7. Og så har du spist en bakke kek og dusja og sånn på en time.
Er det en mulig? Se på hva det blir kommet.
Jeg har ikke lyst til å kle på meg, men det er ikke sengen. Det er bra.
Nei, når du står på alarmen så
Ja, precis. Ja.
We saw it, we're like,
Jeg tror jeg slumrer hver dag.
Fewer than I normally see on Monday morning.
Jeg hadde gledet meg til å skulle regne og sånn, så jeg hadde glemt å skru alarmen. Så alarmen ringte.
Okay, good morning, class.
Jeg ble så sur.
You're looking like there's a little bit fewer than normal. I'll just do the name call and then we'll go straight into it. Jennifer? Cassandra? Prakash? Osna? Sarah? Marie? Aurelien? Hilda? Hassan? Vegard?
Ja.
Gudny? Sigrid? Kat? Ego? I just went past your name. There we go. Ingrid? Andreas?
He's sick.
Oh, okay. That was Kit. No. Trygve? Nicholas? Saw you
Yeah.
too. There we go. Ingalil?
Yeah.
Daniela? Winnie? Check. Jana?
Yeah.
Vilde?
Yeah.
Steve? Check. Kanti? Check. Marie? Hege? Roar? Check. Sondre?
Ja.
Here we are. Carlotta? Øyvind? There we go. Jan-Ove? You too. Pan? Sissel? Marek? Check. Lynn? Check. Tuborg?
Ja.
Hi, Tuborg. There we go. Olina?
Ja.
There we are. Sondra?
Ja.
Hanna? Mari? Jocelyn? I saw you. Tuna? There we go. And Chris. Okay. So, a couple of pieces of news and so on. The introduction to using the program R is on Wednesday, and I strongly recommend that you're up and very well coffeed for that lesson. Because you're going to be needing it, and it's a fairly practical thing. And Knut has a very hands-on way of doing it, so you will literally get it in. The other thing is that, as you probably noticed, this series of courses is in fact a biology boot camp, and literally how to behave as a scientist and so on. So this plays into your extended abstracts because they're all marked and graded. That's fine. As you know, I had to go out sampling at Sunndalsøra, and this was I couldn't get out of it. It was a big project, and there was people from all over coming. There was a Russian, an Australian, a Greek, and me, and so on. And there's lots of other stuff that's happening. It's a very coordinated sampling. Okay, so you'd all delivered your extended abstracts, which I was not going to be able to look at online. So I printed them out, and I've graded them all, and I've gone through. So you're going to get handwritten comments back. There's only one thing. Not all of you put the name on the paper. I didn't ask specifically. Oh, good. There you go. I didn't ask specifically that you do, so it's my fault. And let's see, that was, wait a sec, that was Egor and Winnie? Yes. I didn't ask specifically that you did, so that's okay. Some of you did, and some of you didn't. But there's 3 really good examples of what to do. Okay, so they've all been graded out of 5, and it was a fairly straightforward grading system, and I wanted a reference, I wanted a conclusion on this extended abstract, and I wanted to know that it actually reflected the paper's content. And I wanted it to be coherent. That means it hangs together, that the text is okay, and then I wanted to know if there was any definitions or specifics. Okay, so that's how I was looking at them. And now, okay, from now on, what you're writing also ends up going through me. And I read very literally, okay? So I'm not going to read between the lines. I'm not going to, I know what you're writing about, and what you write specifically is what I react to. So your specific words and so on. Now, just to show that this isn't just me, okay? This is my brother's book. My brother it's called Emails from a Nut, being my brother. Okay. And what he does, he also reads very specifically things. And he was looking in a catalog about camping equipment and useful stuff, sort of like Claes Olsen. And in there they have duct tape, okay? And the copy says, strong enough to hold a bull elephant. So, my brother writes to them. Dear sirs, he writes under an alter ego. My wife have been very satisfied Lee Valley customers over the years, and it looks like that is going to continue. I was looking through your catalog this morning in preparation for my trip to Africa, and I came upon the perfect item. On page 33 of the Christmas 2002 catalog, item 25.01, the original duct tape, strong enough to hold a bull elephant. This is just what I need. I am a great believer in bring them back alive, and was wondering how I was going to bring back the animal that I want. Then I saw your ad that this duct tape can be used to restrain a bull elephant, and my problem was solved. Now I can trap the elephant and restrain him for shipping. What a great idea! I had no idea that duct tape could be used in this manner. I was all prepared to get a huge cage to ship him back, but now I find that all that is redundant. Before I order, though, I do have some questions about its application. I don't want to buy too little, or be disappointed like I was with my little sea monkey experiment. Most monkeys can't swim at all. How many rolls? First, 1, how many rolls do you think I will need? I expect to get a big elephant. Will 1 roll do? Or should I get a couple just to be sure? 2, do you have any diagrams as to how to restrain a bull elephant? Should I tape all 4 legs together or do the front and back ones separately? 3, what do I do with the tail and trunk? Can I tape the trunk to the tail and keep them from flailing around, or should I just tape them to a leg? Should the ears be taped back to prevent flopping, or are they okay? I don't think the ears have any bones to break. Will this tape work for antelope too, and is there any way to easily remove the hair from the tape? And do you think I could construct a trap with this tape as well? Okay, please get back to me soon, as I leave for Africa shortly and want to get the duct tape so that it gets to me well in advance of my departure date. Thanks so much for solving my dilemma. Jackson Sneed. The company writes back. Dear Mr. Sneed, we've received your email and are delighted that you have read our copy, that's the text, so diligently and intend to follow our recommendations scrupulously. Please see our answers to your questions, interspersed with your text below. How many rolls do you think I will need? The answer here is not as obvious as one would suspect. Much like the case with clamps, you always need one or two more than you have. You can never have too much duct tape. How much you should purchase is really a function of contingency. The less extra equipment you have with you, the more duct tape you'll probably need. In addition, significant frustration can be avoided by having at least one roll per person actively involved in pachyderm restraining. Do you have any diagrams as to how to restrain a bull elephant? Should I tape all 4 legs together or do the front and back separately? Alas, we have discontinued the pachyderm restraint plans, actual size, as we had to fold them 72 times to fit within postal size limits. While we were happy to do this, several customers reported that the amount of time required to refold the plan was too time-consuming, and most male users never opened it in the first place. As for the legs, will you be restraining trained or untrained elephants? If the former, trained, it's quite straightforward. Just have it mount the standard number 7 circus stool, the 4-foot stance, and tape away. If untrained, front and back separately works best. What to do with the trunk and tail? Dealing with the trunk is a simple matter. Please see our trunk tie down on the following web page, and they do give a web page. Restraint of the tail is deemed by most to be unnecessary and could even result in an adverse accumulation and subsequent catastrophic expulsion of what used to be plant matter. Should the ears be taped back to prevent flopping? Freedom of ear movement is necessary for the animal to properly regulate body temperature. This is true. Will the tape work for antelope too, and is there a way to remove the hair from the tape? For really hairy animals, we suggest gaffer's tape, which should totally avoid negative depilatory effects. It's not quite as strong, but then again, an antelope's no bull elephant. Do you think I should construct a trap with this tape? We hate to recommend for or against applications we haven't personally tried. We will post this exchange in a few woodworking forums to see if other users have suggestions. Please get back to me soon as I leave for Africa shortly. Not a problem. We'd also recommend that you review shipping requirements at, and they give a website. Thank you for your continued custom. So, okay, so this is what happens when you read literally. And I do. I read literally. And so if you're talking about something that is a bit odd, then I'm likely to look at it and consider what you said versus what you meant, and I'm going to write and respond according to what you actually sent. Okay. Now, since I just told you that I didn't see your names on all the things. Okay, I have to go back because it's identified by site, but I haven't done it yet. And if you can read this, okay, I've taken one of each abstract, extended abstract, and these are the best ones. So this is one of the best. There are a couple of others that were just as good, but read this now. I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, so read this, and you'll be able to, if you had the first one about the Arctic diplomacy, you can judge your own on the basis of this and this. Okay, and I would like you to read this because I'm going somewhere with this total comprehension here.
Could you increase the size?
Sure, I think. There we go. God. Stop that. Why can't I do this? can't I get this stupid thing out of the way?
There's an arrow in the middle. Just
There we go. Better?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me when you want me to scroll. Okay, done? Okay, so basically from that, those who didn't read this article know what it's about. And it's about how to, it's about organizing the approaches of science to a place where there is no country in particular that is monitoring the place, and it's about using it to basically try and protect the Arctic before all the interests get there, before all the separate interests get there. And there are quite a lot. There was, I don't know, about 100 ships last year that went through the Northwest Passage, and there's oil exploration and so on. So this is on a big scale. This is how science can be used on a big scale. The next page, the next paper, it's a shorter abstract. This is on a smaller scale. This is about how a small country can use the science diplomacy. So, and again, those who wrote from that one can judge their own grade by more or less this and that. And now in this one, now the ones who haven't read that article also know that this is about how a small nation can act and what was particularly done. And of course, Norway is a small nation, and its own news is filled with how many wonderful things have been done in the name of science and so on. But it is difficult. Okay, so now we're getting further down into a smaller sphere of acting on a global scale, but through science. Okay, and so we're getting from a league of nations in a way down to what a small nation can do. And then we have the final one, the biohacking one, which goes back down there. Can I scroll a bit? Oh, sorry. It said 70%, so apparently it can go more than that. Right. Okay. So this one here goes down into what kind of world the individual scientist is experiencing, and that conflict between corporate and public is evident everywhere. For example, we saw it in that in the fjord mining dumping project. There are private companies that are supplementing the government money in order to investigate whether or not the mining tailings can be dumped into the fjord. Okay, and that offers a whole bunch of different plays on who gets what rights, what information, who gets the veto right on the articles, and so on. So this is one of the things I'm trying to make you very, very much aware of. The words you use in some of these in some of the abstracts. There was particularly one that used the word war in the abstract, and I'm fairly certain that that was not in the article itself. And so using the word war in the abstract indicates that that's a major topic within the article itself. It's also, and I saw your faces when I said that, that's a very strong word to use. And so when you're using the words, yes, I'm going to be reading that literally, and I'm going to make all kinds of jokes if I can, but the words you use are very important. They're important for what people take out of it, because people take out of it completely different messages than you thought you wrote. And you will also understand very quickly that the main message has to be repeated in many different ways. Now, one of the things that's apparent with the way that we ran this exercise this year was that your answers in general were much better than the year before. And that was because we did that little peer exchange right there. So you got an early on exchange about what people understood, what somebody else understood from what you wrote. And even in class, there was nobody volunteering that they had a great extended abstract. Because this is extremely important. We'll be coming back to this again and again and again. So it means that what you're going to be doing in writing this report, you're not going to be, this report that you've done your fieldwork on now is going to be read by the next year's class, of course. It's going to be read by Baden Commune and so on. And you're going to have to stick to what is really done there. And you're going to have to make it very clear. So I guess are you meeting your TAs for the run-through about the materials and methods today? Yes? No? Okay, because you passed in your materials and methods, yes? Okay. And I'm hoping that the TAs have all looked at it and responded, and they're supposed to be making some attempt to contact you and go through what they're marking so that you can revise and it gets to me. And since some of you are looking like this is complete news, but it's not to the TAs, I will double check that the message actually got across, because remember, you give one message to 100 people, you got 99 interpretations and one who didn't get it. Okay, so this is also that thing there. So when it comes to, now you've all done your field work, and I know that some of you had longer to write the materials and methods than before. And one of the things that's going to be coming up is figures and tables. Okay, and for those who haven't done your figures and tables, make sure that they're there, and I'll be loading up this particular paper called 10 Simple Rules for Better Figures. Okay, and rule number 4 is captions are not optional. Okay, that's the thing that goes under the figure or above the table. They're not optional. Not only that, they have to be able to be taken completely out of context and be understandable. So if the caption says, view from the road, I'm sorry, view of what from the road, but where and how close is this to a sampling site, and what is the main sampling site, and what are you trying to show with this? Are you showing the lack of plant material? Are you showing the construction with runoff down into the stream? Are you showing these kind of things? Okay, so take it completely out of context, out of your text, put it over there, and can somebody else completely understand it? I certainly hope so. But if not, you should be able to revise and make it clearer for me. The other things are identify your message, and that is, what are you using the figure for? Are you using it just for filler? We don't like filler. Are you using it to illustrate something that will come up later on? Then it's okay. So the usefulness of your figures is important. Also for some who were doing, who know now what a good, by the way, I've got 4 sets of, that's sustainable phosphorus, no. I've got 4 sets of results that have been coming back, so I'll be emailing them back to the individual groups already. So by now, it'll start to be coming back. The phosphorus and the E. coli have come back for the first couple of groups, and that gives you something to work with, and it also gives you something to start making the figures with. And analyze, of course. So when you're using the figures and tables, you have to understand what it is you're trying to show with this. And again, filler, we're not interested in filler. Some of the abstracts were very long, and in fact, some showed me all 3 versions of the drafts and so on. But just so you know, the number of pages is not proportional to the grade. So the more pages in a report doesn't mean the better grade. If you can get your point done early and quick, fine. And that means also make your sentences information dense in the way that these extended abstracts were. And remember, use that idea about peer review. I think I've said something that makes perfect sense. I'll hand it to Goodney. Does she understand what I thought I said? Right, and it's going to be that way. It's going to be that way. What did you do? Which is why the getting the TAs involved in reading is a really good idea, because some of the TAs have not done this before. Some have. Most of them have been out on in the field with you, so they understand the subtext of it. But they also had a little training in what to start going for and looking at. And should be coming back to you with real concrete improvements and things like that. It's also pretty important that you are very clear about what you want to say and how you want to say it. When you did these materials and methods, was it just a rush and you just put it down, or did you actually work together? This is an open question. I'm sorry. Maybe I should make this. No. For example, Winnie, in your group, did you rush to do the materials and methods, or did you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
A little rushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we did we had a
Right.
field
Thursday.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But everybody pulled their weight, more or less.
More or less.
Okay.
Well, it would be better if we had a little more extra time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rush.
Yeah. But how about the other groups? For example, the Store Lungagon group. Where are you? That's you guys. How was that?
Well, we since we did our field work earlier, we didn't have it wasn't that much of a rush.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it in advance, but we still sat down on Thursday. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you end up with figures and tables?
Yes. So,
Yeah. Yeah. All numbered?
Yeah.
And referred to in the text? Thank you. Okay. Right. Okay. It's that kind of thing that's going to be important, and also that the figures and tables are sensible. I'm just watching the time here. And the other thing here is that when you're looking at your results, you start to consider putting it together. And this is a big hint for later. Okay. Usually, okay. Somebody tell me the divisions in the materials and methods. Okay. The headings that you had. For example, Edgar, what did you guys have for your headings in materials and methods?
What do you mean?
You know, it says materials and methods, and then you're dividing it.
Oh.
What did you divide it into?
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
sampling size.
Yeah.
So we have methods that mean equally phosphorus and biodiversity. And after analysis of these three
Mm-hmm.
tests.
Right. Okay. There's also. Okay. Okay. Phosphorus is abiotic, and so are a lot of the other water quality things that you used, the pH and the oxygen and so on. So it depends on how you want to group this together. Okay, and then the last bit would be statistics. in results, it tends to be sort of the same order of headings. You tend to go by site and then look at these things here. That's great. So you get sort of the results are reflecting the materials and methods. If discussion is in the same order, I know we've got a problem already from reading the table of contents. And why is that? Okay, so if this is now discussion, what's wrong with that? If that is the order,
just be a rehash of the results.
yep, exactly. And frankly, by that time, it's getting really boring. And there's another big thing. It hasn't taken the step back and looked at right? So you have to take the step back, and instead of breaking it up into the individual factors, maybe go by site. And tell me, was it good or bad? Was it overall fine? Are you satisfied with your result? Does it look like other places? Is it consistent? Okay? So this is my first clue about whether or not you're actually paying attention to the question that Baden Kommune asks. Have you taken the step back in your discussion to the site that you want to work at, to the site that you were given? Okay? So it's very tempting to go, you'll get very far down into the results. But as Arlene said, if you do this, if you do the same kind of breakup in the, or division in discussion as you've done in results, it's just a rehash of results. There's another thing here. And I can take a look at a page in the discussion, and I can tell with one glance if it's actually discussion or not. It takes me 2 seconds. And if I look through the whole thing, 2 seconds per page, I can tell whether you've really discussed or not. And how do I do that? It's really simple. Are you using the literature? Is there a reference there? Are there many references there? And basically, those stand out on the page. They really do. And so if you are just rehashing your own results, and you are just putting your own results in context to the mistakes you made, and not reaching out to the literature, I know it's not a discussion, because the literature isn't there. And this is the biggest mistake people make. Okay, so please use the literature, and I will be reading literally. Okay, and there will be quite a number of things that come up about how to put this together. Now, since you're handing it in, there's you're going to be working together, and I'll give you a break now. We'll be back at 10 after, and we'll get on to things that you're going to be noticing, how to deal with it, and a little practical exercise again to keep us awake. Okay, so see you back here in 15 minutes.
Unnskyldning var det blind.
Sov meg så rakt. Må bare vinke det. Ja.
Yes, dear. I noticed.
Oh shit.
I go on field trip tomorrow evening and I'm away for a week.
It will be filmed, so you know,
Okay, yeah.
take a look. But there's practicals too, and you won't be able to do this unless you actually do the practical following along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but that will be,
Yeah.
Ja, men den gick nog någonstans.
I'm pretty sure we're I mean, it's not like we have our own buildings, but maybe they have little apartments. Should we?
Yes, dear.
We were wondering if it's possible to get a TA.
Which one is that?
We've got one that's not been here at all.
Oh, Francesca.
Yeah, and now when she's back, she's not even able to meet us again.
She sent us corrections yesterday, a few,
Poorly.
Right.
and said she wouldn't be here either again today. So she
Okay,
can go
I'll
for
do
it.
it.
So,
Hand it to me. I'll do it. You'll revise and hand it to me again.
Okay.
Okay.
thank you.
I mean,
She's just getting to a point now where
just
it's just
she's
silly.
She's
Like, it's
been, yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, also for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she is paid to do, she's at Universitat Stipendia.
Okay.
So she is paid to do this. So I'll find her face to face and find her.
Discipline.
There will be some discipline. Firing is
It's a bit harsh.
but we'll see. And I will also tighten up the reins a bit. Yes. So email me what was done.
What she's corrected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then I will go through it because she hasn't. All the other TAs have a little bit of a training session, and she and we'll see. She will have a very steep learning curve.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. But that final for tomorrow, the final
We'll see. I'll yeah.
read through it.
Exactly. And if it's dreadful or if the other TAs haven't done it and so on like that, I'll move the deadline a little bit later. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we will have a field trip today for BIO300. So, Stu, Chris, and
Then
we'll leave early with 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
oh, that's okay.
So we will leave.
You're not in the same groups, are you? You are in the same group?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but I meant for BIO300. You're not in the same group? Okay. Because there's a small but fun exercise right at the end. And that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So only 15 minutes early.
That's fine. Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
I think on the boat zone, they have their own. I'm not wearing my own.
Det er jo himla vanskelig for det at vi satt jo på laget og var på, og så skulle det levere snart. Det veldig vanskelig å få med alt.
Ja, vi gjorde jo det vi kunne på det vi hadde.
Ja, vi gjorde jo det, men Florian var det er her, men hvor ble det av Vegard? Han skal innføre meg.
Actually, you survived the
Actually pretty easy. It is like
took you ages though.
Kind of ages. Just because it's like at first I'm like, it's a bad idea. It's too easy. And I was thinking about blending and stuff. It was like, somebody that fell off the just like it. Actually, maybe just sleep for like the firefighter until sun up and then just go down safely. So, it's like I've already done some firefighting. So I pretty much like not. So like the hardest and the harsh part is trying to get it past the arts. And then once I got the really it was like warmer and not deep. And all, it was just like
Was it 110 at that?
110 did you?
Did the cycle?
No. You kind of head towards like Campbell area. Past those like water cabins. And yeah. I walked all the way from there. Yeah. It's just sort of while I get like past those pictures you posted. They're so much better than real life. It's such a bullshit. I think that time really like I don't know if they used to heat or something, but didn't do anything.
Actually, the day that it's like starting like blue or something.
Was there any FL? Yeah.
Why did you?
Did you guys get busted right there?
Oi, det som er klokken 11 til 14, så er det sånn Ska vi göra? Ja, vad fint det kan vi göra.
We supposed to have 2 lectures today.
Yeah, because I changed it from Friday to I know, I'm on Friday. But yeah.
Okay, so from the extended abstracts, you're getting an idea of how it is to be a scientist now, sort of the bigger context of things. And from the way that we're teaching this course, with you going out to the municipality and you're solving a problem, you're trying to answer a problem that they have. And so you're doing an active kind of learning. There are also different prospects here. So for example, we are using two independent labs to do the phosphorus and the coliform bacteria. The phosphorus is a commercial lab. The other one is part of the Boughton Communa. And so one of them has a boss, which is money, because that's a private lab. And the other one has a boss that is sort of the job that has to be done for society. And the amount of money that Norway can afford to put into these kind of public services is far beyond what many other countries can and will do. Okay, just so you know that this is a situation here which is for this purpose rather nice. In other countries it's going to be completely different. And so we have as well then this conflict that was also taken up in all 3 of the extended abstracts the public good versus the private purse. And do we have then the obligation to serve the public at all times? What about the ones who give us the money, or the ones who will chase the money, or the ones who will commission a study on the fjord dumping of mining, or the ones who will commission this and that? And it's extremely common. Okay, so we have this question here: can free science exist today? When you guys were going through bachelor degree, was this ever taken up? Just hands in the air. Was this question ever taken up? Yes, a few. Okay, and for example, what were they saying? Just in general, you don't have to be wise here.
They were just talking about the same topic.
Yeah.
Whether or not you can afford it as a country.
Right. Or even as an individual. Yeah.
Yeah, or school, or
Right.
universities.
Yeah, and so there is a phenomenal amount of money that is going into being able to do this course the way that we're doing it, both from the Bergen Kommune and from the university. And there's a good reason why. Now, one of the journals that is got one of the highest impact factors is Nature. Okay, and you can listen to the week's news on a podcast. They also have their own. They themselves are quite a corporation, and but they're looking at science in general. And this is an article from this year, July this year, The Science of Teaching Science. And basically, what they're saying here is active problem solving confers a deeper understanding of science than does a standard lecture. And that's true, which is why we're doing this the way we're doing it now. We could stand here and talk to you about standard deviations and how to analyze the results, and this is the way something's going on. But this way, you are actively engaged in problem solving, something that is pretty darned useful to know. Water quality and whether or not the sampling is going to answer the question. So we are actually doing it this way. Well, we've been doing it for a long time this way. And Nature in July said, at this point it is unethical to teach any other way. And this is also because the textbooks, if there was a textbook here, the textbook would be old by the time you got here. And science is changing very, very rapidly. So what we're trying to do now is get you to the point where you know what to trust or how to evaluate something, because you will be doing both. And we want you to be able to realize how many different influences are coming in here, because there's a difference between doing science and the business of science, to the same degree that there is a difference between making music and the business of music. It's very easy to confuse both, but one of the points here is as it says there, most new science is not verified. And of course, scientists like shiny new things. Scientists like new science, new results, new methods, that kind of thing. We like it, but it's not verified by repetition, which means that you just keep going. So you have to be able to trust the people you are working with, or trust the people that you're citing. And here's why people trust other people. This is sort of a general rule. And first of all, it's your experimental capabilities and your honesty based on a previous working relationship. So you actually know somebody, and you know that they are good at what they do, and they're really conscientious. And that's basically what we're getting used to in here. You know the personality and the intelligence of the experimenters. Are they diligent, or are they, let's go, without actually looking back? Maybe their reputation in running a lab, how well it's done, how chaotic it is, whether they work in academia or industry. Industry has different things that they're going to be paying attention to, and they will not be telling you the methodologies. They will not be telling you the entire set of results, and they can't. Academia might be poorer, not necessarily true, and they're supposed to be open, but even in academia, the industry comes in. And it makes some things open knowledge and some things not. And this is very much active already here. So when you guys are choosing your thesis topic, some of you will be working on things where some industry has come in. Some of you will be working on purely basic science, and some of you will be working on things that have a particular goal that is either set by public and private or one or the other. And that will make an influence on what you can get and what you can't. For example, fish feeds, the dietary formulations. There's lots and lots and lots of diet trials. But when you're putting in the commercial feeds, you do not get the recipe. So your results will not be able to go back and pinpoint this ingredient, and this ingredient, because the recipe for those commercial feeds is an industrial secret, an industrial advantage, and you won't get it. So this is part of your life. And then this part here, previous history of failures. If you had big failures, and we will be seeing some big failures later on, that will also play into how well you trust them or not, if they've been known to do something. Inside information, of course, and the style and the presentation of results. That part here. We're definitely going to go into that in this class. But we're also going to do the psychological approach to the experiment. This one here, the size and prestige of the University of Origin. For marine sciences in any case, and for some of the ecology, University of Bergen is pretty well looked at. And so that means that you've got a good start here. If it was a smaller place with no big reputation that it had managed to build up, your credibility would also be affected by it. And then the integration into networks. And believe me, those networks are really, really important. And here's the other thing now. In science, the credit goes to the person who convinces the world, not to the person to whom the idea first occurs. Okay. So we'll say Darwin convinced the world about evolution, but the idea was not his first and his alone. So, and neither the theory of relativity, bits and pieces of that were all around, but credit goes to Einstein because he convinced people. Okay? And that means that not just the discovery, but the way that you bring the idea forward. You convince people, you convince your teammates, you convince other people. This is important. And so, we get over to your teammates. Okay. So all your groups, and you're all doing this now, okay? So all groups are teams. And teamwork is super, super important here. Okay, so now you're going to be getting into this. I told you this before. This is how you will be evaluating each other, and this is how you will be evaluated by the others, and it's a factor on your grade. But the important part here is that this is, okay, you've done this. You've done a bit of this and so on. Providing technical solutions to problems, writing a report. But you also have to participate and do the fair share of work and reliably. Complete it on the required time. I mean, it's a real basic thing, but that's part of teamwork. And it really will come to cut through the way that you work together. And this group dynamics, some of the groups are working excellently together. You guys are doing a brilliant job. Some of you have the occasional one or two people in there that won't be the most brilliant person on your group. It might be the TA, but it doesn't matter. Okay, but you want these general team skills. Encouraging and motivating the team, supporting team decisions, help the team reach a consensus so that you all agree, and you help resolve conflicts. Resolving the conflicts, the easiest way to resolve the conflicts is to get it early. there's been several years where we're like 3 weeks before the report has to be handed in, and people are tearing their hair out because one person who had the responsibility for doing such and such is never there, doesn't show up on time, has a whole long list of excuses, and they just want to kill this person. But it could have been stopped 2 months ago if they'd taken it up there and then. Okay. And this is one of the reasons why the evaluation of you guys by your teammates is a factor on your grade. So if you get, if your team, if your group has got, say, 90%, and you're scoring almost 0 on this, it'll be a factor. 90 times such and such will be a factor on your grade. So if everybody thinks you're wonderful, 90 times 1, you get 90. If everybody thinks you're less than wonderful, 90 times 0.75, for example, you're not getting 90. Okay? It really does make a difference. But the other thing about this isn't just for the grading system. This is what, okay, this list isn't made up. It's gone through, I've gone through the literature about what is effective teamwork in the industry. This is a highly transferable skill. Highly transferable skill. This is what your employers, your future employers, are looking for you to be able to do. And quite seriously, just last week, there was a student coming in. He's applying to a big international organization, and he was writing his letter, and it was sort of almost there. And then I looked at what the organization was looking for. They were looking for that. So he has to put in words that he can do this, because that's what they're looking for, in addition to your technical skills. But now there's leaders, and there's several different types of leaders. And we've also had problems with people thinking, oh, I know everything if they would just follow me. But there's different types of leaders and different effectiveness. And here we've got, most of us are women, yay. But in fact, also in the corporate world, they've been finding out that the qualities of good team leaders are also the so-called typically female ones. Okay, so the idea of closing your ears and just going forward, in only a few cases does that work. So what we want to know here is, do we have a good organizational leadership or not? Okay, so there's the effective ones, the strategist and the alchemist. Okay, so I attended the leadership conference. Now I'm following everything they recommended. So I just thought that was funny. But here, I don't know if you can you see that? Okay. So this is the definition of a type of leader: an opportunist, a diplomat, an expert, an achiever, an individualist, a strategist, and an alchemist. The alchemist is the best one, but that's like 1% of the population. And they are good at leading society-wide transformations. Basically, we don't need an alchemist here. But what we do need is probably one of the others here. The opportunist will win any way possible. They're good in emergencies and in sales opportunities. So possibly the opportunist is good when you're competing in a presentation for something, something, something. They'll be looking for it. How do we get through right now? Well, we'll have the diplomat, and this is a problem, avoids conflict. This can be a problem. A diplomat may solve a problem and do it well and do it early, but they avoid conflict. If they avoid it constructively, that's good. If they avoid it by trying to sweep it under the carpet, that's bad. Wants to belong and obeys group norms, that's fine. Good as supportive glue within an office, helps bring people together. Maybe you're that way, that's good. But here we need the expert as well, rules by logic. Good as an individual contributor. Most of you will probably be in there because that's just generically, that's the way you sort out. The achiever will meet strategic goals and effectively achieve them through the teamwork. Juggles managerial and market demands, well suited to managers, action and goal oriented. The individualist, this is where we kind of have a problem. Most of you have been trained already now to be individuals. That you're supposed to follow your own, you're graded on your own, and so on. And that means that you're also, you're leaving competing personal and company action logics. So you can, this is good because you develop new things. They'll bridge different, different streams of what is needed. But you also will have to be effective in consulting and in venture is sort of like the new science and so on. And then you have the strategist. Exercises the power of mutual inquiry and vigilance and vulnerability. So it's like the strategist understands how to get the group to keep moving forward. And that's fine. That's pretty good. So but there's also some challenges here. And that's pretty straightforward because there's weaknesses in the we want the groups to work together. And we'll just leave this on here because this is from the Harvard Business Review. Okay, so for those of you who want a career in something other than teaching, this is what people are looking for. And this is a very short version of several articles that they've gone through. And we've put it together because this is things that you need to know in order to go forward. So for modern leaders, because that's going to be you, these are things that they want you to have. And notice that most of them end up on the feminine side, and some of them end up on the masculine side. So you want plans for the future, reasonable, loyal, flexible, patient, intuitive, and collaborative. So you work together. And being decisive is one thing, resilient is the other. Resilient means that if your idea is shot down, the idea is shot down, not you. And again, language comes back to this. Instead of saying, you wrote this text as, say, this text is. It's not you, it's the text. You are capable of transformation. The text is incorrect, okay? So notice this and be able to be collaborative and flexible and reasonable, because it really will make a big difference for your group. And there are many ways in which leaders can behave, but to motivate them, let me just see, there you go, to motivate them and be as a role model. Now, in the beginning of this whole series of lectures, I had Ken Robinson up and saying that we'd taken creativity out. And creativity is definitely coming back in to the rest of this course. So obviously you're going to have to write. You're going to have to write in terms of a standard scientific report. You're also going to have to be making a presentation. You're going to have problems to solve. So in order to show you that creativity comes into problem solving, the next 15 minutes or so, we have a small exercise. But before I do that, I know that some of the people are having to leave early. There's two things. The creativity part here has to do with, among other things, communication. And that's very important. And on September 30th, from 12 to about 14:30, we have a special master class in communication. And it will be over in the aula. And it is a cooperation between us and the Bergen International Film Festival. So, Bergen International Film Festival. It's next week from the 23rd to the 30th. And we've been cooperating with the International Film Festival for a long time. And Sondra has also already made a section of school questions for a documentary that's coming up. And that's one form of cooperation. The other one is that sometimes we have filmmakers coming in to talk with us about how they've done things. And this year, what we've got is a master class. In science communication. And there will be 2 documentary filmmakers who are there. One of them has made a website that's just unbelievably interesting. NRK will be there, TV2 with their photojournalists, independent filmmakers, and some of our scientists. So far, I am the master of ceremonies, and it is focusing on how to get your message across, and it's literally called "Get the Message Out." It's in the BIF program, and it's been on. I think it's been on BIO300, and I've sent the email around to some people I know who will be preparing short things. When it's a master class, it's a dialogue. Okay, modern teaching, modern learning is a constant dialogue. So they don't get a half an hour to stand up there and tell everything. They're also going to be talking to each other, these master class people. So for sure, I know your schedule is basically open. From there, it's up in the brand new aula, and it's a fabulous place, and it's a once a year experience, and we're really, really happy to do this. It also tends to be a bit rock and roll, because the question about whether we could put this together was posed 3.5 weeks ago. And between that time and now, myself and Håkon Tveit from BIF and Paolo Chavarria from Infomedia, who we also have an agreement with, have put this together. And it's going to be a very, very interesting time. So definitely put that on your schedules, and it's part of BIO300. So, that said, creative solutions to problems. I would like, we're going to have to close the door, but I've got four colors of paper, and I would like each field group to get together and take one of each color and go out here, okay? Because we've got a very practical little thing to go through.
Should I grab those two? Jenny Martin by any chance? Yeah, she was a professor and she runs a science education. Scripting scientists, so you can add like multiple stuff on science.
Skal vi se om bare ett er klart? Ja. Alle skulle vel kjøre klart. Vi får bare ta gruppa. Tror jeg vet ikke.
Take one of each color.
But for each group?
And so each group just puts them. Just put them down on the floor. Okay. And this will evolve into a creative thinking problem here. Okay. Basically, every round it has the same instruction. Every member of the group has to have at least half of both feet on each Just bring the paper back. Okay, and basically what this means, so that's my way of showing you that you can already build, develop, and lead empowered and diverse teams, because all of you are different. And there's no one right answer, there's no one perfect personality, there's no one perfect set of skills. And the idea that you're all supposed to be regimented is in a way quite different to the idea of being able to do good science. You have to think creatively, and all the sciences generally tend to be moving forward. The other thing is that when you're leading an empowered team, has anybody done improvisation before? Yeah, okay. And what is, give an example.
Well, it's quite scary.
Yeah, sure, but keep going.
I guess when you have an idea, you just have to go with it.
Yeah, but if you're doing improvisation in a group?
It's more fun, because you can kind of just, if you have one idea and then someone else like builds upon that, it just kind of does more than what you expected.
Right, yes, it does. And I think the key word here was builds upon it. And so, and this is, in some ways, it's almost going across what many people have been taught about how to do science. Because we're supposed to be very critical, and yes we are, applied in a critical manner, and we're going to get some very concrete lessons in being critical to articles and so on in the written word, and to think critically and constructively. In a group, when you are face to face with people who you're building ideas with, the rules of improvisation are the best way to work. Because the rule, when we're thinking, oh, somebody did an experiment, like, for example, they had two groups of fish. My examples are usually of fish because it's closest to me. Two groups of fish, but they didn't control, but one group came from one stock and the other group came from another stock. So they're genetically different, but the experiment has been thinking of them as the same, and when they conclude that, that they both react, that they are significantly different in terms of the treatment, you can't tell whether or not the genetics, okay. So that's a critical reading of whether or not the genetic background has influenced the results in discussion. So you need to know, no. But what you also need to have is the ability to work with your group to go with that. Okay, so when you're reading the thing, you can see that there's something wrong. And to somebody else who's not there, you might say no. To somebody who is in your group, to be a good improvisational person, you say yes and. Okay? You build on the good stuff, you ignore the bad stuff. And again, this is part of the teamwork building, because if I came up with an idea, oh, let's write it this way, so we put the site and then the picture and then this and that, and Goodney goes, no. Instead, maybe Goodney says, if we put the site and the description, maybe we can put the picture in a table. So she's building on something already. Take a picture in the table and give all the characteristics of the site right there. Okay? So that she's using the rules of improvisation to bring out the best of my idea and apply and build it further. Okay. One of the ways to break down teamwork is to block somebody. So somebody comes up with an idea and the other person goes, no. Somebody comes up with an idea, you pick out the best and you keep going and you build it up. And that also builds, it builds up trust. So you don't feel like you're going to be criticized all the time for everything. Believe me, we are good enough at criticizing ourselves. We don't need anybody else to do it. But what we do need is to get successfully from this stage of now the results are coming in and the reports are going to be written and now you've done the field work together, but now all your mistakes will come back to haunt you. Yes, you have made mistakes, for sure, because everybody has and everybody does. But now you're going to, instead of saying, blame, this is because you did such and such, okay, we did such and such, and we have to get out of this together. So you make a goal of how to get out of there, and you build with the strongest ideas. And this improvisation also means that you're going to be led in ways that you hadn't expected. It is also the creativity of the scientific process. When you're looking objectively at a result, what does it objectively tell you? And this is why science is a creative act. And the idea of trying to put you into something where your imagination doesn't play a role would be utterly wrong of me. So I want you to, I'll let you guys go early because I know somebody has to. So I want you to remember that this creativity is an extremely important part. And the other aspects of what you've got will be coming out. So please encourage the best of the personalities of your team members. And the pressure will start to hit. It really will. Remember not to make a bad thing worse. Build on something because you have a common goal, and that is to write the best report possible with the best data possible that you've got. Okay, and putting it into context. So that's basically today's lesson. Okay, and this is also leaders should be readers, and if you want to read anything about reading, you can check out these websites. I'll put them up in the lecture notes and so on. But in the meantime, it also means that when you get back the comments from your TAs on the first draft of materials and methods, maybe they're critical, maybe you take them to heart. It's only about the text. It's not about you. And text is different than personality. It can reveal personality for good writers, but text is different, and it's just something that needs to be massaged into place. And this is part of the learning process. It's also because this is active problem solving, and we know where it's going to go. And we want to give you the skills so that you will be able to do this again and again in the best possible manner. And I guess that's it. Okay. So I'll be working to get your abstracts back to you individually. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the revised materials and methods. That's it. Yes.
This will be away on this week for marine methods.
Yeah.
I assume that the Fridays will be.
Yes, there will. Yeah.
Inget är värsta
Has team put back about the time of the review?
No, the group should decide, but I'm going to doctor now.
Okay.
I don't know how long that will take. And then I have a class at 12. So I don't think I'm ready before 2.
Yeah.
But I said that on the group, I said that I think that the rest of the group can meet, and then I can meet some of you when I'm ready. I'm ready from 2. And if the group meets before that, the group can meet before 2, and then I can just meet some of you later. And I can do what you just said.
Is it polyphonic?
Well, it's not that.
Okay.
What?
No, it's Some of you just tell us on. skal sprenge til sammen.
No, I guess not.
That's
good. We'll wait until.
Mr. Best, Hi. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Skal du ha materials og methods tilbake igjen I morgen?
Om det mulig. Jeg skal dobbeltsjekke med TA-ene at de har forstått.
På mail?
Hæ?
På mail?
Ja. Okay.
Kan vi legge til ting senere, for vi tenker på...
Oh, absolutely. Ja. Det ikke den ferdige utgaven.
Nei,
det bare for at dere kommer I gang, og vi luker ut de verste problemene med det samme. Så det it's a work in progress. Ja. Så det, vi regner med at det ikke den ferdige.
Så står det der med track changes. For vi skriver Google Docs.
Ja.
Men det ikke en track change?
No, but that's okay.
Jo, det går an.
Går det?
Ja, men bare søk opp på Google Track Changes I Google Docs. Jeg vet ikke om han fungerer helt likt, men det sånn at du får sånn parentes liksom. Så...
Men for meg, når vi logger på, så kan vi se hva folk har endret. Men
det var ikke så lenge, tror jeg.
Nei, sant?
Jeg tror det du gjør å skifte fra edit til forslag eller sånt. Da kommer du opp litt, men når var det den revised versjonen til det? Stod et eller annet?
Det onsdag.
Onsdag, ja.
Nei, I morgen. I morgen ifølge timeplanen, men ja.
Det var litt tidlig, for vi har ikke hørt noe fra, altså han sa han skulle se på det og sånt, men